And the yoga teacher would be like, oh, you've got to get uncomfortable. That was like his thing. A lot of yoga teachers say this. And I feel like Klay Thompson's ready to get uncomfortable. The Golden State Warriors perhaps also feel the same way. Who's going to blink first? So just the backstory, Klay Thompson, just for the record, made $43 million this past season with the Warriors. $43 million. So we cannot, weep for Klay Thompson not getting paid. Now, he has seen Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green, who helped win the title to the Warriors in 22. They got 4-year deals, but they did take a bit of a pay cut. 4-year deals, though. The Warriors, by all accounts, are refusing to come off a 2-year deal to Klay. Klay's like, you got to show me the respect you showed the other guys. I mean, hell, Wiggins won 1 title with you guys. I've been along for the whole damn ride. I'm going to get a statue outside the arena, probably with Curry, since we're the Splash Bros. Don't do me like that. And Klay's getting a little upset. How do I know this? Because there's an article every other day from a various NBA insider. Klay's ready to leave. Don't make him walk away. He's ready to say goodbye. He scrubbed his social media of all Warriors references. There's like a playbook for this at this point, Like I remember there was a young guard back in the day named Ty Lue. And hardcore NBA fans remember Ty Lue had like the Allen Iverson starter kit. He had the braids. He had the swag. He looked kind of like Allen Iverson out there. Then Allen Iverson stepped over him. Yada, yada, yada. I feel like Klay's reading the playbook. What do I do when I want to return to my team, but they don't want to pay me? Okay, so you got to unfollow on social media. Then you got to plant stuff with every reporter you can. Hey, Orlando's attractive. The New York Knicks could use some shooting. Philadelphia, if they don't go the 3rd star and they get multiple stars, people are going to want Klay Thompson. And I started thinking like, Klay Thompson in an Orlando Magic jersey? Nothing against Orlando. Nothing at all. Lovely, lovely city. I know a lot of people there. Relatives. It's fun, just not in the summer. I started thinking like, damn, is Klay going to be wearing an Orlando Magic jersey? Because I remember what it was like seeing Olajuwon, Akeem the Dream, Houston Rockets legend, in a Toronto Raptors jersey. You guys remember Michael Jordan in a Wizards jersey? It just doesn't feel right. Patrick Ewing with the Sonics. Gary Payton with the Miami Heat. It's like some of these guys are synonymous with the team they basically became a star on. And I know, hey, toss that out there. The Warriors paid $180 million in luxury taxes. They didn't win a playoff game. They didn't make the playoffs. They lost to the play-in. And that was the play-in game where Klay was 0 for 10, 0 for 6 from 3, and scored 0 points in, 32 minutes. I don't know, $180 million is a large check to write. Now, we're not paying for past performance, okay? Klay, thank you for your service. That was great. Oh, yeah, your contract's up, and now we're talking turkey, and you don't have much of a resume. Klay counter. Guys, look at my April. I was shooting lights out. I shot 43% in April from 3. 23 points a game. Klay, that was 7 games. This is fixing to get ugly, as they like to say, because neither side wants to bend. And the Warriors owners could just throw their hands up and say, bro, I'm not writing a $180 million check again this year to not make the playoffs. And Klay's counter is, well, fix the rest of the damn roster. I know I can deliver. It's getting ugly. I don't see Klay leaving. I think this is all posturing, and ultimately he'll probably take some kind of 3-year deal with a team option for year 3. I don't, something not favorable to him, but he gets to stay in Golden State. Now, I will end with this. Klay Thompson in the offseason loves LA. He bought a house like within, I've got like a decent drive. Like my 3-wood is kind of strong. I could probably hit Klay's house from my buddy's house with a 3-wood. He likes the Los Angeles area. I would not be surprised if we start to hear JJ Redick loves him some Klay Thompson. Oh my goodness. What would JJ Redick do with Klay Thompson on the Lakers? I'm just telling you, all the teams are going to keep popping up because Klay's going to use as much leverage as he can to get what he wants out of the Warriors. And with that, let's welcome in Dan Wojcicki, NBA reporter for a very, very long time, been covering the Lakers for the LA Times this season, used to be at the OC Register. Dan, I know you're excited for the JJ Redick presser today.
I want to get out and work on my 3-wood, Jason. I've got issues with it. I can't hit any celebrity houses with it. We have the Redick presser today at 1:30. Should be really interesting. I think there are 2 huge questions that need to be answered. One, why did the Lakers do this? And two, why did JJ Redick do this?
Ooh.
I think those are both really interesting questions that have very different answers. And I think they are, at least from the Lakers standpoint, related in part, Jason, to what you're talking about with Klay Thompson. And that's this sort of new NBA economy where teams are really, really scared of the second tax apron and the way you roster build and the way that you can't just like, you mentioned sort of the Lakers. Like the Lakers aren't really in a position to like go throw $35 million at another star. I don't think anybody like an established veteran star, even, that just doesn't seem like a viable path for teams at this point. And part of the reason is this second apron. So you invest in a younger coach who you think can help you win on the margins because that's where you're going to be able to do damage. You can't do it those same ways that, you might have been able to do it 10, 15 years ago.
So does that make it makes it sound like you think probably there isn't as robust of a market for Klay as he's trying to set up?
Oh, I think everybody wants him. I mean, he's the kind of, I shouldn't say everybody, I think he's the kind of player that you would want,
Mm.
right? Like he's not the defender he used to be, but he's still really smart. He is shown an ability to sacrifice for his team and he can still shoot the lights out, and I think he's still working off some of the rust from the catastrophic injuries that he dealt with. But to me, it's more just about the money. Like what does a player like that get, and who can give it to him? There's only like, there's two really competitive cap teams this summer in terms of Orlando and Philadelphia, and they're kind of looking at they're the teams that you're going to see match for these winning type quote unquote stars. Everybody else is sort of really limited in what they can pay these guys. There isn't really like a middle class where it's like, oh, Klay Thompson's a $25 million player. We can go give him that salary. No one has that kind of cap room, except really for those two teams. And so I think that's why the market maybe seems a little depressed. It's just there aren't that many options.
Yeah, we already saw Malik Monk is staying. Let me start with some guys
Mm-hmm.
that Reddick could be interested in. I'll start with a guy who's working out a lot in the area I live in, and that's Zach LaVine, who I am way higher on than a lot of people. Colin smirks when I say Zach LaVine. I just know, sure, he's not a number one. We established that. He's probably not a number two. We also established that. His contract is big. That being said, if you slide him in as the three, is there not Drew Holiday type impact? Because Holiday was great defensively, but offensively, couldn't LaVine really pop with Anthony Davis and LeBron? I know you'd have to sacrifice, but
I think there's an element of shot making that Zach LaVine will provide to a team. I just think the injury stuff is so concerning for everybody, the Lakers included, right? Like they were linked to Zach LaVine last year. I never really got the sense, Jason, that they were that interested, to be honest, because of the injuries. And there's obviously the clutch sports element and stuff like that. I just don't really think there's a great Zach LaVine deal that's out there. Part of the issue, at least in my reporting last year, was that I had a GM tell me that like, cool, yeah, like we'll talk about Zach LaVine. What are the Bulls giving us to take on that contract? Right, and people in Chicago were aghast at that notion, and I think history's sort of proven that to be kind of the market, right? Like he's not a great asset. The injury stuff is very concerning. This isn't even a player that's necessarily been regarded as a quote unquote like winning player in a real traditional sense because of the defensive liabilities and stuff like that. I think he played really well in Tokyo on the Olympics team
yes.
and sort of like a more defensive kind of capability as sort of an alternate scorer. But I just think, teams look at the injuries, they don't see the same sort of burst that he used to have. And it's spooky. It's a ton of money and it's years too, right? So I don't really think he's the guy. Like I said, I don't mean to deflate the premise here, Jason. I think like this notion of like we need to get better, we need to go star hunting. Um, it's such a hard sell on teams right now. Who's had success with it in modern basketball, right? Like we saw what happened in Phoenix last year. We saw what happened with the Lakers. We saw what happened with the Clippers last year. We saw what happened in the Westbrook era. It's just really hard to kind of build these quote unquote super teams now because of all the limitations that are going to be coming for you in terms of the second apron rule.
Would you say Wiggins didn't qualify as superstar? Because he was, I don't remember his contract when the Warriors grabbed him, but that felt like a good buy low.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little different. He was a little cheaper.
Okay.
He's younger, certainly at that time too. I think there are ways you can do this, right? I mean, the best example is a team like, I mean, look at what Boston